I'm Elena Hart. I turned 32 last spring, and I've long known my place, one step behind my sister. Lila, 3 years older, wore the halo. She got smiles, praise, second helpings. She married at 24, had 2 boys by 27, baked from scratch. I kept a quiet apartment across town. I had a 401k, a Roth IRA, and independence that never seems to count without a ring. My parents, Marianne and Victor, never said it outright, but their questions sagged with meaning. Don't you want children? Your sister's boys are growing so fast. You're still in that apartment? I learned to nod, fix their Wi-Fi, bring wine when they forgot birthdays. Then Lila's porcelain life cracked. Her husband, Derek, had been cheating for years. She found the messages by accident, or finally let herself see them. She filed for divorce. Derek vanished with money and apology. 2 boys, Noah and Caleb, stayed. Bills, too. Words were generous. My parents' savings were locked in someday. I didn't think twice. I paid the retainer. I covered 6 months of rent. I watched the boys on weekends so the world eased off her ribs. I never kept score. I just hoped someone might quietly notice. On a Wednesday, Mom called, voice bright enough to sound rehearsed. "Come by tonight, good news." I drove over, tired and curious. The living room was arranged like a stage, Dad in his recliner, Mom perched, Lila tense beside her. A manila folder sat on the coffee table. "It's Lila's new house," Dad said, "and you'll take the mortgage." The room tilted. I set the folder down. No, I stood and left before my voice could break. The calls began that Saturday. People who hadn't sent a card in years suddenly discovered my number. Kelsey led with, "I heard what you did," as if a verdict had been reached. Uncle Neil left a minute-long sermon about duty. Aunt Carol's voice arrived sugared and sharp. "You're not getting younger, Elena. At least help your sister's boys." I blocked them, one by one, until the chorus dulled to static. 2 months of quiet. I jogged before sunrise, cooked simple dinners, relearned the shape of my own evenings. Then a thick envelope landed like a brick on my doormat. Plaintiffs, Marianne and Victor Hart. Amount demanded, $350,000. Itemized as food, clothing, emotional support, and, finally, funds to complete Lila's mortgage. I laughed once, short and shocked, then called a lawyer. Priya Ellison was measured and brisk. "They have no claim," she said, flipping pages. "Parents owe care to minors. Adults owe themselves." For 3 weeks, I became a clerk of my own history. Bank transfers to my parents when the pension ran thin. The $7,200 in rent for Lila. The $5,500 retainer. Screenshots of texts. "Just a little help this month?" Receipts I didn't remember keeping bloomed from old email folders. I slept badly and woke angry, then steadier. Court smelled like dust and disinfectant. My grandparents, Arthur and May, took the bench behind me, their hands folded like vows. Across the aisle, my parents pretended poise. Lila studied the floor. The judge, gray at the temples, watched the room settle. "Why this sum, and why now?" he asked. "To help our other daughter," my mother said. "So this is a mortgage, dressed as memory," he said. "Proceed." The questions came hard for an hour. Not cruel, precise. Why assume I would pay? Why buy a house beyond Lila's means? Why hitch help to guilt? My parents answered with phrases that sounded reasonable until they met air. Priya moved like steady weather. Exhibits marked, transfers highlighted, my independence since 18 set in clean lines. The ruling arrived a week later. "Claim denied," the judge said. "Parents do not invoice their children for childhood. Evidence shows Miss Hart has been a giver, not a debtor." He paused. I am disappointed by the plaintiff's expectations. The gavel met wood like a door closing. I didn't celebrate. I walked outside and let the sun touch my face. May hugged me. Arthur murmured, "That's that." It wasn't, quite. My mother visited my grandparents to beg an early inheritance for the grandchildren's stability. They said no. Months passed, quieter ones. I bought a bungalow. I painted the kitchen yellow for rainy light. I planted tomatoes. I adopted a gray cat who sleeps by my laptop, guarding basil. Lila rented out her house and moved back with our parents. They manage, I don't call, they don't either, until a year later. An email. We heard you bought a house. Since you have extra space, Lila and the boys should move in. Let us know when. Love, Mom and Dad. I replied, I won't host them. Please don't contact me with further demands. Send. Days. Light puddles across the counter. I lock the windows because May reminds me and because boundaries hold. I'm seeing someone. Rowan Hale, kind. He doesn't pry. I don't explain. Sometimes I think about Noah and Caleb. Maybe they'll find me when they're ready. If they do, I'll tell them this. Peace isn't granted. It's chosen, defended, kept.